See.
Glasses today, I can actually see.
You're good, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to welcome you all here tonight to Township of Nipissing, Tuesday, June 18th at 6:30 p.m. I'll ask first if there's any disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we'll move on to committee reports. And we'll start with Councillor Yim.
Yes, I do tonight, Mr. Mayor, thanks. At our last museum board meeting, the first thing we did is do an accept and decline of artifact donations. Julian had it all laid out. It made it pretty simple for us because she knew what they had and what they needed. So we got through that fairly quick. The brochures for the Nipissing Commanda museums, there's extra brochures. We're going to discuss at our next meeting where they've been handed out, and then we can take them and do the areas that haven't been gone over. And they're developing a shared event poster for the tourist camps. That's for our next meeting, July the 3rd. We all wrote down names for interviewees that haven't been interviewed, that were the first families in the area that we think that come up the Old Nipissing Road. And I'm sure it looked like lots of names handed in. And also for heritage plaques, we wrote down the log schoolhouse on the Granite Hill Road and the old stone house. There's lots of places, so it'll be interesting to see what we can come up with. And we did a discussion for the Fall Fest and the trunk sale, more to talk about on that, and fundraising ideas, carnival games, live auction, which we'll discuss on the 3rd again. And then we talked about the museum foundation, which we're waiting. So anyhow, and that's it.
Oh, to add to that, the museum, Jillian had called looking for volunteers for the 21st for school tour.
Yeah, grade 1 school tours.
So I reached out back to her. She hasn't responded to me yet, but I'll be there for the tour. And then there's another tour, I believe Jones's maybe. Another family wants to do a tour as well, so we're working on that still. So yeah, but that was just something. I think she got some emails about that.
Okay, well, thank you. Councillor Foot?
Nothing here.
Okay. And I know Councillor Kirky has library for sure.
Okay, Library Services Board, Ontario Library Services Board. Pat Stevens, bless her heart, took the initiative to join the board. She's now on the board. Now we have a voice on the Ontario Library Services Board. And there's a conference this weekend. She is going to it or to fund it. So she is volunteering. So I'm looking into more training. And now it's called the Tourism, Culture and Gaming instead of Tourism, Culture and Sports, the ministry. So they've changed that. And grants update. Trillium Capital, for July, we received 11,200 of it. And there's 11,200 coming. I've got a thing on my phone that I got today. So, sorry, give me a second here. Okay, from the provincial government, it was one of the grants, one of the grants that Debbie sent us to apply for. I believe she said, okay, so anyway, we got this grant. Good news this morning, found out that we were successful in obtaining the seniors community grant. For a total of $7,816. We'll now go ahead with the seniors program we committed to. The grant covers wages, iPads, and money for the monthly community conversations lunch. And learn library cafes. Also, Owen just received a whole bunch of baseball items from the Blue Jays Care Association. He'll use the items for the library's team summer program. Toronto Dominion Bank does a summer program, and they were going to sponsor that, so we could use that for that. So some funding, some stuff is working. And the Lions Club donated the money for the chairs for the new quiet room. The new quiet room will officially open on the 28th, which was the architect who did the design for it donated his time for that. Yes. So we are naming it after his mother. His mother's birthday would have been on the 28th. So that's our grand opening, and I believe we'll have somebody provincial or I'm not sure who. And our financial committee is working on the 2024 budget. They're going to extrapolate that forward to 2025. So we have a fixed what we're after. And I believe the plan is in early 2025, they will send an interim levy like we do with taxes. So we will send out an interim levy to the partners and then balance it out on the second levy or the second two levies for the rest of the year after the budget is in place, because this year, because of controversy and the delays, the library was running on a very, very fine thread, had actually run out of money a couple of times. So anyway, so that's, and I made the suggestion that we do it that way because I like the way we do it here, because we're not strapped, you know. So they thought it was a great idea, so they're gonna try and incorporate that into their future budget. And they're going to work on the new library services fees. Well, that's part of that whole thing. Let's see. Powassan Elite donated $2,000 to help out with the seniors programming as well. So we're in good shape with the seniors programming, which we're kind of, we downsized the seniors programming, but now we have better stuff in it. So anyway, and I believe that's Friends of the Library. Oh, Friends of the Library covering some of the summer program, and TD is covering the rest. And TD is the stuff that Owen is doing. So, anyway, that's all I have. Our next meeting is September 16th, I believe.
Right. They can always have an emergency. Yes. So today was the Pines Annual General Meeting. Representative from Kendall, Sinclair, etc. Auditors gave the Pines a clean audit. It's a different audit due to the needs of DSAB. They have different requirements, but it was a clean audit. Everything's good. And this was followed by a board meeting where negotiations, and we have to negotiate with DSAB to see what they'll cover and what the people have to cover, because Nipissing, nobody pays money to the Pines except the people living there. Immediate undertakings, they're doing drainage in August, siding the end of June, new closet doors June and July, and they've already put in a new automatic door, which was installed last week. And then we had a presentation from Mitchell Jensen Architects about all the decks and the privacy fencing are really old. Detached, falling over, everything like that. So that's gonna be what we negotiate for next year. And right now, we had to pay just to get the plans done. And the argument today was wood, composite for the decking on the ground, wood composite or cement. And when you looked at it, cement more expensive, but over 50 years, it more than pays for itself compared, especially wood. So we put in to go to cement, and then not the decks, but the privacy fencing, we're looking at composite. But that hasn't been decided, so that's what we'll negotiate for, whether we get it or not, we'll see. And on the Pines 2, there's further discussions taking place with MP Rhoda, and we looked at what they have in Astorville, that kind of housing. And now they're suggesting that having 6 individual houses, too expensive. They're gonna put it all in one block. It'll be cheaper, but it won't be as aesthetically pleasing because they look nice. So that's what they're looking at anyway, and Leo and Calvin are manning that one. And otherwise, the next meeting was supposed to be August 20th, and I knew I'd be away. So now it's August 13th. So some things don't pay, but anyway, we'll see what happens when we go to Eastham tomorrow. So August, so they get a month off, and well deserved. So, and like I said, Eastham's tomorrow, so you don't have to hear that until July. Otherwise, we can move on to adopt the minutes of the meeting held June 4th. Mover and seconder, Dave, and thank you, Shelley. Moved by Councilor Yan, seconded by Councilor Foot. That the minutes of the regular council meeting held June 4th, 2024 be adopted as published. All in favor? Carried. At the door, somebody was coming.
The fitness center door.
Right. Okay, now we talked the last time, and someday, maybe, there will be natural gas in Nipissing or in the village or out 534 or 654, who knows? But Phenom asked us to support this, so I need a mover and a seconder, and then I will read it, okay? Councillor Kirky and Councillor Foot. And there's a lot of whereases, so bear with me. It's number R 2024-139, moved by Councillor Kirky, seconded by Councillor Foot. Whereas the government of Ontario continues to secure access to affordable energy to further economic growth, including the Natural Gas Expansion Program and the Keeping Energy Costs Down Act and the Enbridge Gas Incorporated Rate Rebasing Application Phase 2 requires review. And whereas the Township of Nipissing supports a measured approach to Ontario's energy transition, one that leverages existing gas infrastructure, invests in renewable natural gas and hydrogen, in addition to building the electricity supply. And whereas the Township of Nipissing recognizes that growing communities and new developments have growing energy needs to support housing developments, new businesses, community centers, hospitals, schools, and industrial areas, and all Ontarians benefit from this growth. Therefore, the Council of the Township of Nipissing supports hearings like this to represent municipal voices for the need for natural gas and natural gas infrastructure to support the province's diversified energy mix, and that this resolution be forwarded to the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Stephen Lecce, Minister of Energy and Electrification, and President of AMO, Colin Best, MPP Vic Fidelian, the Ontario Energy Board. Any comments or question? All in favor? Carried. And next, resignations from the Recreation Committee. Command held its elections, and so this particular person is no longer going to represent them on the Township of Nipissing Recreation Committee, so I need a mover and seconder. Thank you. Councillor Foote and Councillor Yam. It's number R 2024-140, moved by Councillor Foote, seconded by Councillor Yam, that we accept the resignation of Ron Phillips from the Township of Nipissing Recreation Committee. All in favor? Carried. Okay, next, staff report review of user fee policy and user fees. And Chris is going to handle this, and we've already, she's mentioned that there's going to be different things coming out in the next days, weeks, and months. We just kind of get back up to speed, so it's all yours.
Thank you. So I did a review, I started a review of policies and procedures that are more than 5 years old or up to 5 years old. And so the user fee bylaw, we do keep it current. Our last bylaw, I believe, was in 2021 in November. And we do research with all of our neighboring municipalities as well. I didn't circulate that to council or in the package because by the time we get all the fees, it comes out on the table that looks like this. And there's a lot of information there. We just use it as a guide. So there were only a few changes that I saw. I did the calculations with the FIR Schedule 40 for the 2023 financial information return. And there were only a few fees that we can actually change. So I have highlighted them on a draft that I'd like to advertise and bring forward for the July meeting. Tax certificate and different information requests, including roads, work orders, fire, zoning. We've been charging 45 for a number of years, and most municipalities are up to 60. So this covers staff time, research time, plus all of our computers and things like that to do it. So I think moving up $5 is fair for now, and we'll look at moving forward with that fee. The returned item charge up to 40. Again, there's research time, there's postage, etc. when we have to send out notices. Our foreign exchange payment processing fees. So what this is when we have a few people that still send us United States checks in US funds. We can't put that through our check scanner from our office. So we actually have to take it to the bank. So this covers some of our staff time to take it to the bank with our car, etc. So we'll move that up to 20. A record search, again, you're just covering municipal time. So up to 30 is fair. It's usually a 1 hour minimum fee is what we charge. We don't have very many of those. Usually they're for capital gains requests, things like that. So we have to go back several years in the paper roll books and copy. So that's all that. We have in planning, those request letters for 50 would be in keeping with the rest. The pre-consultation, we put that pre-consultation fee in place because we were receiving a number of solar project applications back in the day when that was the thing. Now we just have pre-consultation for larger planning items that then John Paul can handle. So they'll send them out to our planner. This fee is a refundable fee so that we don't keep any of this money, but any of the fee, it's more than $500 now what we're doing. buildings. So it's better to move that up so that we're not surprising anyone. The minor variance refundable deposit, again, that's a deposit for that in the site plan control. More and more the fees are going up for legal and planning. So we used to give back money all the time, and now we're billing out after the file is finished, and it's upsetting people. So I think if we're being upfront with them, with the process going forward, it'll be a refundable fee. Anything that isn't used is refunded to them, but this way we're protecting the township from not receiving their funds. Firework order information is the same reporting structure. The landfill fees all seem to be in line with what we're looking at, and the one that we really focused on was the mattress and box spring. So we're bringing in that service. Once we calculate how much we pay to have them removed and how much we're charging for people to bring them in, we're subsidizing each mattress by about 10 cents. So I think we can handle that. That doesn't have to be changed. On the final page for miscellaneous, we just took out a couple of fees that we don't use anymore. The mileage rate, I was looking at CRA has it at 70 cents. A lot of different places have moved up to 64. We haven't changed since 2021. So I think 64 is fair. And that's all. I did provide a table as well showing some of the work that we do with the FIR fee and how much it actually costs to provide the service. And that's what we base those fees on. And going forward, I think we can move up a few of the fees. So I gave a 5-year snapshot moving forward. So, and I didn't see any changes that were required in the policy itself. So I'll just put down that it was reviewed for this year.
Are there any comments or questions?
That will be on the next agenda.
Okay. And your correspondence. After that, kind of correspondence we had a month ago. Oh. You're complaining that I did. I'm not taking credit for it. So anyway, we have the minutes of the Township of Nipissing Recreation Committee, but I think we already heard about that last time. Now we've heard about the Township Museum Board. The joint statement on the Canada Community Building Fund, and that's just information. And that's number 3. Federal government, how much they're putting in. So Canada's Minister of Housing and Infrastructure and Ontario's Minister of Municipal Affairs and Olivia Chow, Mayor of Toronto. So, and the President of AMO released a joint statement. So it's just strictly information. And then the last one, which again, I thank the rec committee, and that was the, what was chair yoga? Is that what this line came from?
I believe it was chair yoga, and there might have been some from the teen dance, was there? I believe.
Yeah.
Or it may have been from Christmas, I'm not sure.
This is the calendar district food bank donation.
Yes, sorry, yes.
Okay,
Sorry,
good.
where we got it.
Yep, we did. And so thanks for everybody that made that possible, and calendar thanks us. So that's really good. So any questions about the correspondence? Seeing none, I need a mover and then seconder. Okay. I know you can't do the money by yourself. You're gonna have to. So Councillor Foote and Councillor Yam. It's number R 2024-141, moved by Councillor Foote, seconded by Councillor Yam, that we accept the correspondence as presented. All in favor? Carried. And now, hopefully you're gazing at the accounts.
Just one question on the accounts, the developer deposits. How many developers did we good so far.
No, developer deposits is just the name of the account. So anyone that has a severance, minor variance, zoning bylaw application, anything like that, we put their refundable deposits in there.
Yeah.
And so we have probably between 26 and 30 applications on the go right now for different various things at different stages. And it's
Yeah,
just one of
so
those.
it's escalating gradually every year now.
Oh, yes.
Like we went over the hump where the big thing was, but no, that was,
And we haven't met our maximum of consents, but there's an awful lot of zoning bylaw amendments. There's a few site plan control agreements to be done and different things like that.
and how many do we have that we can do?
10 severances,
10 seconds.
but that's outside of the hamlet areas, and that does not include a lot of additions.
Oh,
So there's a few other ways of doing it.
And we, even the busiest year.
Yeah, we didn't
We
meet
didn't
our
get
maximum.
10.
And
Um,
that was imposed by the minister
mhm.
of municipal affairs. That's to keep our development at a reasonable rate that we can afford. That was why that's been put in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So that was added to it outside of our control.
That's the only question that I had on that, because I'm just curious about how many we had. It had nothing to do with the cost here. It had everything to do with just
We have quite a few.
where we're at, yeah.
And they just did, Kim and John Paul just went through the file to update the file to give back any refunds that we could. There are files that are over that deposit, and there were about 6 that are gonna get nice.
And that's the point. It's better to give it up front and then get it done and then say, oh, now you owe us this.
And we don't want anyone to get into a project and then not have the funds to complete their project that they've already started an investment in. Plus, we have to protect the township.
Yes.
And we only put those in yellow because those are items that we're gonna receive back, or that we don't, it's just an in and out for us. We're just
Yeah.
simply bookkeeping.
Okay, any questions otherwise? Okay, so Counselor Kirky. And, okay, thank you. Glance to Dave first, so it's number R 2024-142, moved by Counselor Kirky, seconded by Counselor Yem. The statement of accounts dated June 3rd, 4th, 8th, 11th, and 13th, 2024, totaling $181,812.08 to be approved. All in favor? Carried. Okay, now we've got the confirming bylaw. And the other, just a couple of things, notes to, we of course have Canada Day on Canada Day. And the rec committee's got some interesting things planned that day for kids and young and old alike. And I did see the fireworks, so let's hope that we get plenty of moisture in between now and then so that we have no issues and it's calm that night except for blowing bugs away. Also, we have our next council meeting is on July 16th and then on 17th. Just a reminder to all of us and the people in TV land, of course, who are watching tonight, that on 17th, we have our open house here. And we look forward to seeing everybody that night as well. And if there's anything else that we need to note.
Just a reminder that that town hall meeting on the 17th is from 6:30 PM to 8 PM. The plan is to have a presentation for the audience, starting at 6:30 PM, explaining all the results from the surveys, which we've had quite a few. We just had another big package brought in. It closed on Friday. We're still getting the odd one, and we're not turning anybody away. And we will go over some misinformation that was identified in the results of the surveys so that we can provide that information to the public. And then once we're finished our presentation, then the questions can begin. And we will have all of that report ready for the council meeting for council review prior to the meeting.
Great, okay. Well, in that case, let us move on with the confirming bylaw. I need a mover and a seconder, Councillor Yam and Councillor Kirky. It's number R 2024-143, moved by Councillor Yam, seconded by Councillor Kirky, that we pass bylaw number 2024-32, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on June 18th, 2024, read the first, second, and third time, and passed this 18th day of June, 2024. All in favor? Carried. And mover and seconder for adjournment. Okay. Councilor,
It was on that.
you were contemplating it. Number R 2024-144, moved by Councilor Foot, seconded by Councilor Yem, that the meeting be adjourned at 7:03. At the clock on the wall, PM. Next regular meeting to be held July 16th, 2024. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you all for coming out on this hottest day of the year.